All right, so we're jumping in this tutorial in our usual sense of fashion, and that's dropping in the bald line, contouring it to our client's head shape, going for a mid-skin fade, and we're just gonna do this all around the head and make sure that both sides are the same, and that initial setup is very important because you put in that first bald line sloppy, just equals a sloppy fade. How I always like to approach it, clean lines equals a clean fade. And now I'm just balding out the rest of the hair with my Andis Masters. I have the fade blade on there, so it really cleans up the hair nice and clean, and it does it fast. That's kind of why I switched from my T outliners to that. Just speed up the process just a little bit. Now we're moving on to the Andis shavers, and we're just balding our client out. Now, when you're balding out, just keep in mind, even though it kind of looks like I am, I'm not going all the way right up to the line. I'm flicking out right towards the end there. That way you don't create too much of a harsh guideline and give yourself a very hard time getting that bottom line out. And we're just going to do this around the head. Make sure that we have a nice even clean cut, and then we'll get into our fading process. Now we're cutting the top down with a number 3, and maybe you're asking, why did I do the bald line and bald out and everything and then go to the number 3? Why didn't I start with that number 3 first? And for me, it's just as simple as, why cut the hair that's already going to be balded out? You know what I mean? It's about kind of saving yourself some time, saving yourself some energy. And if you're cutting hair that you're automatically going to bald out, it's honestly just wasted time. So that's kind of the purpose and the rationale behind that. Hopefully I kind of help somebody, save 2 or 3 minutes. And like I mentioned earlier, we're just going to attack that dark region with the one guard open. And we're just going to try and blend that. And as you can see, it doesn't take much for it to start really blending into the top nicely and getting rid of that hard line. Now we're going in with the lever closed and we're using our nudging effect, and we're going to go through closed, halfway open, and fully open, and that should be enough to take out that bottom line. Now we're going in halfway, again, just nudging at the line, and we're going up like quarter of an inch, half an inch in these scenarios here. We're not really trying to go too high, right? Because if the first guideline was basically an inch wide, a quarter of an inch closed, halfway, and then fully open should be enough to take that line out. And again, this is fully open, and here you can see that line is gone. We may need to touch it up again with the zero guard, and that's just detail work. And honestly, in scenarios like this, I've definitely seen barbers let their client walk out of the chair just like this, and I think the client would be happy. But clients notice those extra little details that you put in, and when you just take your time and detail, your clients will 100% appreciate that. Now moving on to the other side, trying to give you a different angle at it. This is more so mid of the head to the back of the head, which is problem areas for most barbers. So I think kind of having this highlighted is important. But the steps don't change. You go in with the lever open with your initial guideline, two guard open, and we're just flicking into the top of the client's hair, coasting the parietal ridge, not trying to create a line, just blending in that area to the top. And now we go in with our zero guard open, and we're trying to blend, skipping the one guard and just blending right into the two guard open. And we're just lightening it up. The main thing is patience. No one guard can do all the work. So you just need to use the guard till its fullest potential and then move on to the next step. Now we're going in with the zero guard closed, and we're just taking out that middle line. And once again, we're definitely going to need that one guard to help blend into the top. I typically just like to use my zero guard to see if I can possibly skip the one, but in scenarios like this where it doesn't really seem like it can be skipped, you just use your one guard to make sure that you get that bulk line out and really get that fade nice and smooth and crisp. And there you go, one guard open, blending in right into the top. And as you can see, that fade is really coming together. All that's left is to take out the bottom line. Oh, here. Great skill to have. A little bit of clipper over comb. Instead of jumping to maybe the two guard, you just take that out. Great skill to have to move quickly. And we're doing this a little bit different. We're actually going to be coming with a little bit of a fade down technique. So we're going with the lever open, we'll go midway, and we'll go closed. This is a good technique if you're not really trying to push the fade too high. But in this scenario, I just wanted to show you guys maybe two different methods of taking out the bottom line. I know some people don't love the nudging effect. Some people absolutely do. And then same thing vice versa on the fade down side. You know, some people don't really like the fade down technique, and some people really do. As you can see though, I threw on the zero guard, just kind of touching up some details. I felt like it was a little bit dark, and I was creating a bit of a line with that lever open. And I actually threw that one guard back on, and I'm just detailing some more. Sometimes you can have one side that is just honestly a little bit more difficult to blend out, and that's normal. Hair growth patterns change from each side of the head, density changes from each side of the head. So the idea is you just got to do whatever you have to do to ensure that those lines are blended and they're looking blurry. And now going back in with that lever open, and that we're just solidifying that area that we were attacking originally. And now we're going with it halfway open, continuing to lighten up that bottom line. And as we're lightening it up, we'll be able to completely knock it out. And this is me attacking it with the lever closed, and you can see that it's really coming out. It definitely will still need a little bit of touch up, but you can see it coming along now. And again, it's just all about the details. All about the details. Take your time, get those dark spots out, use your corners if you have to. I know sometimes it seems like I'm using the full blade, but a lot of the time I'm using quick corner work, and that's just really going to help you isolate spots that have dark areas there. And now you can see I'm just taking my lever and I'm just playing around with the lever, opening and closing, taking out any lines that I see. And again, this is just a little bit of detail work, doing some clipper over comb. Guys, I have to say, if there was a skill that I could define as the most underrated in our barber game, I would probably give it to clipper over comb. I think clipper over comb is seriously underrated, and if that's not a skill that you utilize, honestly, take the time and learn it, because you will definitely be thankful once you do. And again, just details, touching it up, cleaning it up. There's nothing wrong with getting through your system and coming back and touching up your haircut. You don't want to not detail your haircut and then watch your client walk out the shop and be like, oh, damn, there's a spot there, I should have been able to get it. You know what I mean? You're putting your name on this, so you definitely want to take some pride in it. Take your time. You know, it doesn't necessarily have to be an extra 30 minutes of detailing, but, you know, just take your time and make sure that it's looking the way that you want it to. And we just quickly blended in the beard, nothing crazy. The masters with the lever open was able to blend right into it. Now Now we're coming in with the end is GTX, lining them up, going from the middle, from one side, and we're just choosing the higher side. And we try to get that nice and straight, nice and crispy without any pushback or very minimal pushback. And once we have that established, we know on the lower side, we know how much that we need to sacrifice in order to create a straight and crispy line with as little pushback as possible. And then same thing here. We're going from the middle out to the right. This was the lower side, so we know exactly how much we need to sacrifice in order to make this look the way that we want it to. So we're going in, taking our time, tapping at that line, and just making sure that it's crisp and straight. As you can see there, man, that thing is really coming out, man. It's looking blurry as hell. Now we're just going in with some texturizing shears, and we're just really lightening up some dark spots. I know some people are thinking, man, it was just a 3 on top. You could have went in with the 2 guard and just did some more work. But when you go in with your shears, you can pinpoint specific areas that need to be touched up and need to be lightened. So this is a great finishing method or finishing technique. And a good pair of thinning shears definitely don't hurt. I have the Commissary Diablo set, and I'm definitely enjoying that. So if you're ever looking to treat yourself to some new scissors, I definitely recommend that. But yeah, here we're just dusting off our client, making sure that he's clean. And yeah, you too. This is the haircut. Hope you liked it. Hope you learned something. Like, comment, subscribe.